Welcome to another self-growth video. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe and help us grow our channel. My main idea over here is to help people as much as possible to recognize problems and realize what is like really just a runaway from the problem and what hopefully will really help and solve the problem that someone has. And like, everyone has problems, but you have to recognize them. That's already a level. And then the solution is much, much harder. Well, first of all, there's recognizing, but people think, oh, yeah, it's true. It's true that recognizing them is already it's already, like they say, it's half of of solving the problem. But in some ways that's true, but it's not always, because you could go and completely thinking that you're fixing yourself when you're doing the exact opposite. But anyhow, the main things I wanted to speak about today, well, yeah, and in general, this channel also, I'd like to, later on, I'm just starting right now, and I'd like to warm up to it. Of course, I have videos on the Parsha and different things like that. But in the self-growth videos, I'd like to warm up to this first, and slowly, at a certain point, I'd like to address topics also that the Haredi world a lot of times runs away from, but then it causes them at the end of the day a lot of trouble. So today I'd like to speak a little bit, about to use habits for benefit, and a little bit more about like living in the now and how important it is. So let's start with good routine. Someone's, let's say, in a bad routine. And I mentioned this before. So you want to get yourself into a good routine. So you want to learn how to use habits and help get yourself in a good routine. Now, usually bad routines become into habits also. Now, when someone is busy all the time, he doesn't know what he's going to do. Let's say someone's working, and okay, he has a few breaks. So he's thinking, what am I going to do in this break? And he thinks back and forth, and he doesn't get a clear decision what he's going to do. And at the end of the day, all the exhaustion of the work, and then all the exhaustion of his brain that he just used to try figuring out what he's going to do, at the end of the day, just collapses on whatever it is, on a bench or on his bed or whatever the case is, and doesn't do anything productive. So that's a result of, well, first of all, it's not preparing. You didn't get yourself ready for this scenario, for this situation, and then at the end of the day, habits kick in and take bad habits because they're much easier. And what happens is that you come, let's say, to your bed, and automatically the cue comes up, clicks, rest. And then, or let's say watch videos or whatever. So let's say you rest, that's a great idea, but the thing is, then a lot of times you watch videos and things like that. And I'd like to speak about, it's a little bit of a loop almost that happens for a lot of people. It could happen, especially people that are really ambitious or have a lot of imagination, and they don't know how to channel it and things like that. And so they won't have a clear schedule and a clear plan, and then so they'll start off their day with the whole ambitious idea, but then they get too tired and too finished, and they don't see reality. They don't see that they're going to need a rest, let's say, or whatever. And instead, they're too tired. Sometimes you're too tired to even sleep. You'll see this a lot of times. You're too tired to sleep, so instead you just waste your time. And this happens a lot of times. And then you waste your time. You go to sleep late, and you can't, well, let's say, okay, or you wake up late, and a lot of times that's better than waking up early in this scenario, or let's say you can't wake up late, and again, you want to change your schedule, you want to change your situation, so therefore, while you're at work, you say, okay, no matter what, you get all these ambitions again, and the same thing happens, and it's a routine, a really bad routine, a loop. You put yourself into a loop like this, you go in circles, this causes that causes that, your work causes you to get tired. Tiredness causes you not to sleep because you're too tired to fall asleep, and because you're ambitious, you don't want to sleep. So at the end of the day, you just waste your time, which makes you not sleep in time, which makes you tired the next day, and it goes over and over and over. That happens a lot of times. So I just wanted to speak about the importance of sleep and nature in this. So let's say if you could break it one time, try breaking this routine by getting to sleep on time. Let's say putting down your phone or whatever wasteful thing you're doing, stop it and get a little bit of sleep. Make sure you get a good amount of sleep, and then you want to start working on, you want to plan your day. So now the problem is people think, oh, I want to be free. I don't want to be, everything planned exactly. That sounds boring and all of that. So the idea is not to plan completely your day. But the idea is, that you'll have a plan of when this happens, what do I do? When this or when that happens, what do I do? Automatically in each situation, you'll have an idea of what to do. Not that you'll never have anything. And this causes the exact opposite. Then suddenly your brain is free to actually, you're not trapped in this loop or in a tunnel of thought or whatever it is. Rather, your brain is really free to be able to do more things because you know what you're doing in these scenarios. So then you could focus on more interesting things, more important things, or just fun things, whatever it is. So sleep, that's very important. Right when you wake up, first of all, to relax a little bit, that's very important. Not to start your day. You want to remember that you don't want to. Rushing your day to start, I think, is a little bit of not living in the now. You have to give yourself time. I don't mean a lot of time at all, but let's say right when you wake up, relax a minute or two, maybe a half a minute in bed or something like that. I don't even say a long time. I don't think it's a good time to relax a lot in bed, but let's say 30 seconds, relax in bed and just focus on yourself right now. I don't mean in a selfish way or anything like that, but just focus on your existence. And then afterwards, I'm just giving an example over here what you could do. You have already from the day before, you should have something, a book that you read a few paragraphs right before you get up. That's very important right when you get up to start your day on something good. Always, one of the most important things is the way you start your day. Start your day in a positive light. And so you think when you wake up you're grumpy, you could decide if you're grumpy or not. And that's very important also to decide your tone at the beginning of the day, because then that will change the rest of the day. That's very important. Just so you shouldn't think, oh, I woke up grumpy today, or I woke up this today. And sometimes, of course, it's harder. Sometimes it's more easy. But have a plan that right when you get up, you do something to make your day start on a good note. That's very important. Another, I think, very important thing is nature. Get out in a little bit. Now, you could do this wherever it is, but especially nature, it's much easier, I think. You get out and you look at the grass, listen to the birds, look at the sky, live the creation that Hashem created for us. Live it and realize yourself. That's very important also. Like, just sit a few minutes, feel what you're on, like you with your feet, what you're standing on or what you're sitting on. You're sitting on the ground, right? Or you're sitting on the grass or whatever it is. Realize and say what you're doing right now. You're breathing. I'm breathing in from my nose and I'm breathing out from my mouth. Say what you're doing. Realize what you're doing. And I'm sitting on the ground or whatever, and realize it. Like, don't just, dismiss it. It has to be the focus, because then you could get out of just always being in. And we'll speak about it in a minute at the end of this video. But that's very important. So, habit stacking, this is partially what I mentioned right now about starting. You have to plan your day in a way that when this happens, automatically it will cue you to do something else or whatever. And this is how you could also do habit stacking, which you have one habit. Let's say right when you get up, you take your book from your dresser and read a few paragraphs from it, or something like that. And then right after you put your book down, you clean your dresser, or whatever the case is. Right after you clean your dresser, then you go outside for a few minutes and drink a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. They usually should be habits that, somehow could relate a little bit to each other. That makes it a little bit easy. It's like every week when you buy your groceries, right when you bring the groceries into the house, clean the fridge, or something like that. Or right when you order the groceries on Walmart, let's say, then clean the fridge. There's things, and this is not to make your day all stacked full, but the thing is, we fill our day, whatever the case is. We always fill our day, and sometimes it could be with nothing, which is not freedom. It's not freedom, not doing nothing or just wasting your time. Freedom is really being really productive, and having a good time could be freedom, and but that's not wasting your time. And that's the only way you could do that is by really having planned or knowing automatically what happens when this habit strikes, what happens right after that, and so on. That organizes your day so well, where you could focus on other things and just makes your day much better in general. So that's that. Now I would like to speak a little bit about living in the now. So stress comes from resisting what is. Most stress isn't about what's happening, it's about what we think should be happening. That's just stress, and that's a lot of times what imagination and thinking too much, and especially I would say factory jobs could cause this. Other things that you're not in the now, you're in the future or in the past or whatever it is, and therefore, so you're thinking what should have happened, or what should be or what shouldn't, not what is. So it's about what we think should be happening. When you live in the now, you stop replaying that past. I shouldn't have this, or I should do this, or I'm hoping in the future this or that, and stop rehearsing the future. What if this happens? You deal only with the present moment, the only thing that is real. That alone reduces the mental load dramatically. So the now I skipped one paragraph that I would like to go later on, maybe when we get into addiction and things like that. But the now restores choice and awareness. Every destructive habit happens in unconsciousness, almost like you're asleep at the wheel. Being present brings awareness to the very second before you act. The moment of awareness, the gap between impulse and action, is where freedom starts. Now, that's a very, very important point. That when you're not living in the now, you can't really have, it's very free choice. You're not really living in the opportunity of free choice. But when you're living in the now, so when you're observing yourself, you have free choice, and you could choose good. And it's going to be much easier to choose the right, or make the right decision. That's partially, of course, observing what you're doing, just seeing it as if it's waves, not really getting into it or resisting it. Resisting a lot of times is one of the biggest weapons of the Yetzer Hara, trying to resist something so hard. The Yetzer Hara uses it against you and crushes you and finishes you off. Anyhow, that's it for today. Again, if you like these videos, if these videos speak to you, so please like and subscribe.